There are very few online games that exist whereby an 8-year-old update still remains one of its most played versions. Ever since releasing in 2014, Minecraft 1.8 has managed to remain one of the most played Minecraft versions in existence, with many of the game's biggest servers not updating beyond 1.8 and many big YouTubers still uploading and playing 1.8 PvP based game modes. Upon its release in February of 2016, 1.9's PvP changes were hated by a large number of the player base, many refusing to ever update and play for months or even years. But things are changing now. Where 1.8 once reigned the supreme version of PvP, by far the most popular in the community, we are finally beginning to see a shift. New competitive PvP servers utilizing 1.9 PvP are rising in popularity. Many of the current most popular YouTubers and SMPs are all uploading 1.9 PvP content, and newer forms of PvP popularized by Anarchy players are only rising in popularity. So, is this the end of Minecraft 1.8 PvP? Is Minecraft 1.8 PvP finally dying? Let's discuss. But why is change coming? What randomly changed recently that hadn't changed in over 8 years, leading 1.8 PvP to finally lose some of its dominant popularity? Well, let's take the perspective of a newer player coming to Minecraft for the first time. This newer player likely heard of the game through friends or YouTubers and is going to play the newest version of the game first, being 1.19 currently. Let's say they really enjoy the game and begin watching YouTubers much more, wanting to play online with others. They're likely to find the most popular Minecraft YouTubers including Dream and his circle of friends, various 100 days related videos, SMPs such as Hermitcraft and the Lifesteal SMP, as well as an endless amount of Minecraft but content. In relation to PvP and multiplayer, the SMPs such as Lifesteal SMP, as well as the Minecraft Championship, all have somewhat of a focus on PvP and combat, and all expose these newer players to 1.9 plus combat methods and PvP. The biggest regularly running YouTuber and streamer event is the Minecraft Championship, or MCC for short, encompassing a variety of game modes which primarily use modern mechanics of the game. These players no longer see their favorite YouTubers hopping onto Mineplex or Hypixel and playing a PvP minigame like they did throughout 2013 and 2016. They aren't as exposed to 1.8 combat anymore. YouTube trends and content has changed. That's why a lot of once popular 1.8 based PvP game modes like survival games have decreased in popularity, or are mostly dead because YouTubers don't play them nearly as much as they once did. Combined with the fact that newer players wouldn't have any knowledge of 1.8 because they weren't around during that time, they simply don't care for it. Why would they play an 8-year-old version of the game which lacks the Caves and Cliffs update, the Aquatic update, the End update, the Village and Pillage update, the Nether update, Ancient Cities, and oh so much more, just for different PvP mechanics they aren't even familiar with? While YouTube is still a great method of promoting a multiplayer server, TikTok is growing increasingly common as well, and guess what gets promoted on TikTok? Lifesteal servers and SMPs, which all advertise their Crystal PvP or 1.9 PvP game modes. Simply put, what newer and even current players are exposed to on TikTok and YouTube are no longer 1.8 based PvP game modes or content, it's almost all 1.9 plus. And the fact that 1.8 continues to become more and more dated, lacking the new content many players adore, is only going to further push the nail in its coffin. Push the nail in the coffin just like you should push the subscribe button. Under 40,000 subscribers to go until 500k now. No pressure of course though. Anyways, in Minecraft 1.9, end crystals became craftable and placeable, doing massive damage when they exploded near a player. And the fact that you could tactically hide the lower half of your player's hitbox, responsible for taking the most damage when tanking an end crystal explosion, in order to reduce the damage you took, introduced a dimension of skill to utilizing end crystal explosions. Originally popularized on Anarchy servers, which also saw a massive increase in popularity during 2016 and even 2019, Crystal PvP is very unique, and while it began with players who used hacked clients and cheats to assist their experience, it's become quite mainstream and skill-based now, especially common on SMPs which allow PvP. Crystal PvP is of course impossible in 1.8, and as such, the players who like it have to play 1.9 plus. So 1.9 not only supports the new combat, but also gives players the option to Crystal PvP, thus catering to a wider variety of players. And speaking of 1.9 PvP, let's talk about another element of it, which leads newer players to favor it over 1.8. 1.9 is intuitive. It makes sense. You block to block damage, you jump to do critical attacks, and swords are faster than axes but deal less damage. 1.8 PvP is not. Jumping, which does do critical damage in 1.8, is actually bad, as it makes it easier for your opponent to get you into a combo. The first hit you do when sprinting does more knockback, meaning the optimal way to PvP is to reset your sprint, and there are a variety of specialized clicking methods which allow you to click faster. At first glance, a newer player is simply not going to know or understand any of these mechanics. They are difficult to comprehend, and not just spam clicking, as some of my uninformed viewers may suggest. 1.8 PvP is harder to learn than 1.9 PvP, and it arguably has a higher skill ceiling as well. I don't PvP much at all anymore, but back in my heyday during 2012 to 2014, I would consider myself somewhat decent, at least compared to the players at the time. I didn't really have to worry about sprint cancelling, my click speed or anything. It was mainly just about movement, at least on minigame servers. Since then, the 1.8 skill ceiling has soared, and oftentimes I'll end up fighting players who I just cannot hit. They are so much better than me. Factor in fishing rods and I don't even want to play the game anymore. But at least I understand what they are doing and know why I'm getting destroyed. Now, imagine a completely new player in the same situation with no or very little understanding of 1.8 PvP mechanics going into fight an experienced 1.8 player. They likely won't even be able to get one hit on them, as they are comboed till their death over and over, and will be so confused and frustrated because they have no idea what they are doing wrong. It's not fun for them and they aren't going to stick around for long. The future of 1.9 combat also seems a lot more unique and promising than 1.8. Hypixel, which for the past 6 or 7 years has been the biggest Minecraft server in existence, running 1.8 on all their game modes, has begun to see a bit of a decline, especially in their PvP minigames. Quite a few of the Bed Wars community has been mentioning that Bed Wars is quote unquote dying, and while it's far from dead, it's also far from its peak popularity. There are a variety of factors contributing to this decline, such as lack of new content and updates, and it's definitely not just the fact that it's 1.8 PvP. But it's undeniable that less and less new players are going to discover Bed Wars and play it as time goes on. In general, the entire Hypixel server has seen quite a steady decline since early 2021, where it was hitting upwards of 150,000 players daily, and even from their peak in 2022, it has continued to decline in popularity. There once again are a variety of reasons for this, but it's clear that less and less newer players are joining Hypixel in the droves they once did. And this isn't helped by the rise of servers such as MCC Island, which even in a beta whereby not all players have access to the server, was regularly hitting over 2,000 players daily and still hits over 500. Upon its release, I'm sure it's likely going to hit the 5-figure player counts. Similar upcoming 1.9 PvP servers such as Tubnet also are going to further draw newer players towards them and not 1.8 servers like Hypixel. From my limited experience on MCC Island, I can certainly say that it's more noob friendly and therefore newer players will have a better experience. Ignoring minigame servers, and even SMPs are all mostly 1.9 based now, as the popular lifesteal game mode has taken over multiplayer. There are dozens of lifesteal servers or hardcore survival servers, all offering either 1.9 or Crystal PvP, many of which see hundreds of players online daily. It just seems that many of the upcoming and newly growing servers do tend to have 1.9 PvP on them. PvP Legacy is like the Mindmen or Lunar equivalent for 1.9 and Crystal PvP, and it often peaks at over 1,500 players, displaying there clearly is an interest in 1.9 combat competitively beyond just on minigame servers and SMPs. Such servers also support competitive Crystal PvP as well. There now exists a large community of 1.9 plus PvPers which are supported by larger servers and networks, something which didn't exist for many years before. So, I was super curious about whether 1.8 or 1.9 PvP was more popular, so I ran a YouTube poll. At the time of me writing this, with the poll having 16,000 votes, 1.8 PvP slightly beats out 1.9 plus PvP and Crystal PvP combined at 52%. This is extremely close, and I guarantee you that if I did this poll back in 2018 or earlier, 1.8 would have a much higher percentage of the vote. However, there is an issue with this poll. Most of my viewers began playing Minecraft in 2015 or earlier, when 1.8 PvP was the only option. As such, the poll is biased towards 1.8 and older players. If I ran this PvP poll with primarily newer players who had begun playing within the past few years, I can almost guarantee you that 1.9 and Crystal PvP would have a significant majority of the votes. I was also curious as to how many of you hadn't even played 1.8 PvP before, so I did another poll on Twitter, which was dominated by the has played 1.8 PvP option at almost 85%. That being said, a lot of the comments mentioned how they had only really played Hypixel, and many of you mentioned how you had moved on from 1.8 PvP now, preferring 1.9 or Crystal PvP instead. It seems that many 1.8 PvP players have finally taken the leap of faith to 1.9 and beyond. So, all things considered, 1.8 is not dead and won't be for some time, especially as long as larger servers like Hypixel continue to exist. However, as more and more older players quit the game or get bored and decide to finally play modern Minecraft, as well as newer players begin playing the game and likely never touch 1.8, it's only going to continue to decline in popularity for the foreseeable future. Depending on how MCC Island goes, as well as Tubnet, such a future may be upon us faster than we think, but only time will tell. Still, it's very impressive just how long an 8-year-old version of Minecraft managed to reign supreme, and I think it's a testament to the community's commitment and love of 1.8, and it's a damn shame Mojang couldn't just add a game rule to please the players from both communities. I hope you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe, thank you all so much for watching.